The College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University has selected its 2013 Alumni Fellow, a 1980 graduate out of the college and spending many years at Washington State University researching the area of animal diseases and excelling in that area with the accent on biosecurity. Our guest is a native of Kansas, Dr. Terry McElwain. Terry, congratulations on this recognition, first of all.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And you grew up where in Kansas, just to set the table here?
I grew up in Hutchinson, Kansas, until I left to attend college and graduated from Hutch High in 1970.
And then you achieved your D.V.M. from Kansas State again in 1980. What was your initial career path from there then?
So at that time, I went out looking for dairy practice. So that led me to Pennsylvania for a year, it turned out, only.
And then you, changed gears and went back into academia, what?
I sensed after, probably 8 or 9 months of practice, maybe a little bit before that, that it probably wasn't what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I had a young family at that time. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to do something different, I really need to do it. So I went back into pathology. When I finished the program at Washington State, I decided to take a faculty position elsewhere, and I went to the University of Florida for between 2 and 3 years, 2.5 years actually at the University of Florida, and then ended up coming back to Washington State University to be on faculty. I think my wife and I both realized that it was the place we wanted to call home and the place we wanted to raise the kids, and decided, had the opportunity to come back and decided to come back to Washington State.
And then in the early 1990s, you became involved with the Washington Animal Disease Diagnostic Laboratory, and that's where you remain to this day?
It is. So I came back and had an appointment at Washington State on faculty that was a combination of research, and my interests were in infectious diseases, and along with a diagnostic laboratory appointment as a pathologist with a clinical appointment. So I balanced those two for a number of years, and then the director of the laboratory, who was a fantastic mentor of mine, really I owe a lot to him. His name was Tony Galena, passed away this last year. He decided to retire, and they began a search for the director of the laboratory. The initial search was not very successful, and with some arm twisting and some pushing going on, they convinced me, despite being pretty early in my career actually, to take on that role. And then I ended up having the opportunity to be involved at a national level.
And let's talk of that.
About the time that around 2000 or so, 2001, around the time of 9/11, around the time of the foot and mouth disease outbreak in the United Kingdom, the United States, rightfully so, I think, began to place a higher priority in the area of biosecurity and protection. And I think then coupled with that was the recognition that laboratories and early onset of diagnosis and response were critical to reducing the losses that you see with those kinds of outbreaks. And so somewhat by serendipity at the time, I was also on the leadership track in our national association, the American Association of Veterinary Laboratory Diagnosticians, and it kind of all came together at that time to put me in a position to represent our diagnostic laboratories nationally in Washington, D.C., and we ended up being able to put together, along with colleagues at USDA, the National Animal Health Laboratory Network.
And that network thrives to this day, and it's making great inroads in prevention, protection of potential biosecurity breaches, if you will, in the animal kingdom?
Absolutely, and there really is no other laboratory network like it in the world. And it's grown from 12 laboratories in 2002 to, I think the current count is 58 laboratories now in the United States, animal health laboratories involved in the National Animal Health Laboratory Network.
And that does naturally bring to light, and sensible enough as we sit here on the Kansas State University campus, the new facility, which is still online. It all appears to be moving forward, and that is the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility, expected to be constructed in Manhattan, depending on how things fall into place here. You were on the pre-project analysis process, if you will, for NBAF. Talk about that, and talk about your perception of that facility and its significance.
I had the opportunity to chair actually the fast track study that was tasked with re-examining, first of all, the need for an NBAF facility in the United States. One of the options that we were presented with by the Department of Homeland Security to consider was, can we continue to use the Plum Island facility and then utilize some facilities outside the United States for part of the work that really needs to be done. And we came to the conclusion pretty early on with that option that that just is not feasible. And a country like the United States deserves to have and needs to have an NBAF to handle safely and securely some of the most contagious agents that we know of. We felt that there were possibly some options of reducing the total cost of NBAF, but in the end we didn't feel like we had enough information to really say for sure what that reduction in cost would be, and it appeared to us that it likely was not going to be a great deal of savings with the facility now at the stage it was with the design and planning that had gone on. So, but that's that in essence is a summary of what the committee found.
Well, there's so much we could talk about, Terry, but let's close by asking you for your response upon being named Alumni Fellow 2013. How do you perceive this recognition?
Makes me feel old, for one thing. Thinking back to 1980 and graduating, and but seriously, no, it's you know, it's a tremendous honor. I had a tremendous education at Kansas State University, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, I owe my interests and I think some of the successes I've had in pathology, at least, to some mentors that I had here early on. Your time in professional school is just this unbelievable growth, intellectual growth and knowledge growth to prepare you to be a professional. And Kansas State just does a tremendous job of that. And so to be honored by the College of Veterinary Medicine and the university that gave me that start in my profession is just tremendous. I'm very humbled by it and very honored by it.
Well, congratulations to you. Well deserved. Keep up the very good work at Washington State.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing a few thoughts right here.
You're welcome.
He is a 1980 graduate of the College of Veterinary Medicine and the longtime director of the Washington Animal Disease Diagnostic Laboratory at Washington State University, Terry McElwain, Alumni Fellow for the College of Veterinary Medicine 2013.